Hi everybody, it's Nell. I'm alive! Huh. I apologize. It has been a minute since my last video. This past month and a half has just been not the greatest, and I think that's true for a lot of people's Januaries. I don't know why, but Januaries always just stink. They're just awful. We are on week 5 now of illness in our house. My 2 little boys have had 4 separate illnesses. We got a cold, then we had an ear infection, and then we had stomach flu go around, and then we got another cold, and they're drippy and coughing and all sorts of delightful things. So I think we're finally on the downhill slope. Yay! But it has made for a really stressful, exhausting month and a half. And so I apologize that it's been so long, but I'm here and I'm alive and I am still stitching. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day today. You can see I have all my pink. My pink is on for Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, and I hope it's a great one. Trying to think of where to start. This month and a half, I guess it is the 14th, right? So for all of January and the first 2 weeks of February, I don't really have a ton, it feels like to me, to show you, but I did get some stitching done. One of the things that has taken up a lot of my time in the last month, I can't show you. It's a special piece of embroidery. My little sister is getting married on March 12th. And my grandmother and my mother and myself are all working together to make her something really special. I don't know if you can hear my little boy. We just put him down for a nap and he's not sleeping yet. Anyway, we're doing this special project for my sister, and my grandmother is doing some machine embroidery for it. My mom is kind of assembling it and putting it all together, and I am doing the hand embroidery part. And so I've been working on that a lot, and I finally finished my portion of it, but that has taken up a lot of my stitching time this last month, and I can't show it to you for 2 reasons. I don't have it anymore. I've already sent my part back to my mom so she can put it together. But also I can't show you because I think my sister might watch my videos and I don't want her to see it. So anyway, been working on a special project for her. It's my first time doing like free hand embroidery with like a transfer pattern. I've only been doing 2 stitches. It's just back stitch and blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch. And so it's not, you know, terribly difficult stitches, but it is different stitching freehand and not on like a counted thread kind of fabric. It's not on Aida or, you know, an even weave. It's just on, it's actually on satin. And I've been freehand embroidering with, you know, a transfer pattern. Anyway, excuse me, it's been a learning experience, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, and it went a lot faster than I thought it would. I thought it was going to take me like all of January, all of February to finish, and I got it done almost, you know, just like a few days into this month. So that has taken up a lot of my time, but I do have some things to show you starting from January 1st. My last video was on New Year's Eve, and I kind of did my 2015 wrap-up for you and showed you all of my finishes, and I told you my plans. And so, without further ado, here we go. My first start, this was a new start for this year, was Save the Stitches. And in January, I did the first 2 blocks. And you'll see I haven't done anything since then, and we're going to talk about that. So this is block 1 and block 2 of Save the Stitches. Oops, sorry. Get a good look there. Yeah. And I don't know if you can tell, but it has the metallic in it. I'm doing this in the Charted Colors. I replaced the DMC light effects that she had with Krennic, but I'm still doing gold, silver, and copper as the, there you go. You can see there's copper, there's gold, there's silver in that one. You can kind of see the sparkle. So I got the first 2 blocks of that done. Just in case you're wondering, I'm doing this on 28 count cream Lugana that I just got from 123 Stitch, and I really love how it looks. This is really fun. This is really fun. I really enjoy black work. Poor sweet Trisha at 3L Threads was struggling with this at the beginning. I think she's fine now. But she made a comment that I totally agree with, and that is that the border part, the cross stitches that you do in the pearl cotton, take a long time. Took me a lot longer than I had anticipated it would take, and it kind of freaked me out because I had only allotted myself in my rotation, I had only allotted myself 1 week to do those 2 blocks, and I was still working on the border on like day 4, and I was like, I don't know guys, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this done. But then it turned out the fill patterns went a lot faster than I thought they would. Once you kind of get into a groove, because they're so repetitive, you know, I don't have to like stare at the pattern necessarily. I don't know, I'm able to knock out, you know, 1 or 2 of those little fill patterns in, you know, a couple of hours. It's really not as arduous as I thought it was going to be, and I was able to get it done in that week, no problem. In fact, I think I even got it done in 6 days. So, you know, it took me like 3.5 days to do the borders, and then like, what is that, 2.5 days to do all of the fill pattern. So it went great. I'm loving it. Trisha, I'm so glad that you ripped out the part you didn't like and started over again, because I'm really liking this. And that leads me to my confession, which is that I haven't started my next 2 blocks for the month of February because the rotation was an epic fail for me. This is my first time trying an official rotation. And I don't think it's really fair because January was such a horrible month. It was so exhausting and stressful that I didn't stitch as much as I usually do. And so my rotation became a source of stress to me because I felt like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get this thing done in the week that I've allotted it. And then I wanted to start something new, which I'm going to show you. Anyway, it was a bit of a fail. And it just turns out that I'm not a rotation stitcher. Who knew? I guess that's fine. I always imagined that I would be. I love lists, I love schedules, I love having a plan, but for my stitching, the rotation thing stressed me out. And it could have just been the circumstances that were my life in January, but I also think that, and I think some people have made this comment before, that, you know, stitching is my break. Stitching is my relief from my everyday life. And so it's kind of nice to be able to do whatever I want. I do think, however, while I may not be a rotation stitcher, I do think I'm a goal stitcher. I'm a goal-oriented stitcher where I really like being able to accomplish a goal. So I've decided, instead of having an official rotation, I'm going to change that to, you know, every month I'll have a goal. Whether it's a tiny one or a big ambitious one, I just want to set myself a goal for that month. Whether that's, you know, a few more blocks on one project, or I want to do a new start here, or I really want to finish that project for this month. Something as simple as, you know, I want to put at least a few stitches in this long lost whip that's been hiding for months. I think instead of having a rotation, I'm going to set myself goals each month, and we'll talk about that because I've done that for February and it's working out much better than the rotation attempt. But anyway, back to January. So after my week of working on Save the Stitches, the next week in my rotation, and I did stick to it at that point, was to do the next 2 the next 2 numbers in the Advent Animals series from Brooks Books. And I did number 6 and number 7. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen all of this, but it's a good review. And for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, I finished number 6, which is Cashmere Camel. And she's adorable. They're all adorable. I say that about every single one of them, but she's just so darn funny. Steph from Lindy Stitches pointed this out, that she has makeup on. She has like green eyeshadow and mascara, and she has her toenails painted pink. They're actually the same color as my nails. Get it, girl. She's just so cute. I love this. I do not love the Lazy Daisies on the presents, and Steph made a comment on my Instagram picture. She was like, yeah, but they look perfect. They look like this. This was like the 5th time I ripped those things out and did them again. I do not enjoy Lazy Daisies. They are really hard to get them to look even, and anyway, but I did it and managed to get them to a point where I could be happy with it before I ripped my hair out. But that's number 6, Cashmere Camel. And then, this one's so funny. This is number 7, Pierre Penguin. And he's just, oh, he reminds me of a combination of James Bond. You know, he's got his martini, right? I don't know if those are supposed to be martinis. I don't drink, so I'm not really clear. They have a red something in the bottom and not an olive, which I thought martinis are served with an olive, usually. Well, anyway, I don't know what these are. If it's just champagne with like a cherry in the bottom, I don't know. But he just reminds me of a cross between James Bond and Joey Tribbiani from Friends. He has this funny like side-eyed smirk where he's like flirting with you, and he's holding this glass and he's standing under mistletoe like, come here, baby. I just think it's so funny. I think I said when I posted a picture of this on Instagram that as I was stitching him, I kept having Joey's thing in my head, his line, how you doing? So anyway, that's Pierre Penguin, and he's cute. I suppose he's French because his name is Pierre and he has a beret. So I guess he's a French penguin. But anyway, that's my James Bond Joey Tribbiani penguin from the Brooks Books Advent Animals. And so those were both new starts and finishes for February. And up until that point, that is where my rotation survived until almost the end of the 2nd week, and then it just got thrown out the window. I wasn't planning on having any more new starts that month, and then I had a new start just because I couldn't help myself and I really wanted to start it. And so I started one of my new Prairie Schooler charts that I got after Christmas, and this one is Vintage Eggs for my Easter tree. For more information on that, see my previous video. And I got 3 1/4 finished from that series, so I'll just show you. And I'm stitching this on 18 count black Aida. So that was the first one I did. It's just the first one in the chart. Ooh, sorry. Try to get the color to show up right. So much struggling. Okay, there we go. That's the pig. And he's so cute. It says oink. The next one I did was this little duck with an umbrella, and it says quack. These raindrops are just straight stitches with a single strand of floss, and I love how it looks. I think it's so cute. It really looks like it's raining. So he was number 2, and then I did the rooster, who I'm affectionately calling Foghorn Leghorn, as so many of us were giggling about. Isn't he cute? Brittany from Blindy Cat Stitches was quoting a whole bunch of Foghorn Leghorn lines. I say, well, I do say. And it just made me giggle. He looks just like him. He's got his chest puffed out and his finger in the air like he's bossing people around. And it just says morning. And then I started, this is the one that I just barely started. And this one will eventually be this little guy. This little Easter bunny. It says Happy Easter, and he's got, what's that, a chick on his back? It is. He has a little chick in his little rucksack. He's holding some flowers. So that's the one that I started. I have his legs and happy and some grass. So that was my next new start in January, and I'm really liking those. They're a lot like the Brooks Books Advent Animals in that, you know, I can get one done in like 2 nights, 3 nights, and so it's nice. I've kind of been on kind of a small project kick in this last month and a half. I've worked a little bit on some of my bigger things, but I'm kind of enjoying doing these little things that I can get done in a couple of days. So anyway, that was my next new start, and I haven't really worked on it in a few weeks because I've been working on my sister's thing, and then now I'm working on the next thing that I'll show you here. But it was nice to get a new start, and it was nice to make some progress on that. Yeah. And then my most recent new start. This is the last new start I have to show you, and this is number 8 in the Brooks Books Advent Animals, and it's still on the hoop, and it's got string hanging off it. But this is Pearly Pig, and she's number 8. Sorry, you can see through the fabric. So she's actually all done. I'm just working on the border now, and you know, I do my border differently than it's charted, so it takes me just a little bit longer, but she's so cute. And I love this little heart thing. It's almost like this little specialty stitch heart snowflake. I've left off all of the little cross stitch, like snowflake, teeny things. If you're doing these, you know what I'm talking about. I've left them off on her because she's the first one to have those little snowflake things. None of the other ones that I've done so far have them. Most of the, you know, like here's Cashmere Camel. Most of them just have, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 of these little like ice sparkles. And she had 3 of them, which I put in, and then she had her heart, and then she had all these little cross-stitch like snowflakes. But it was like weirding me out that she was the first one who had them, and none of the other ones so far have them. And I am just OCD enough for that to be like, if she has them and no one else has them, then that's just wrong. They either all have to have them or none of them. So I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna leave them off for now. And when I get to the end, when I've done all 24 or 25 or however many of these there are, you know, if there's a whole bunch more that have those little snowflakes and I really like how it looks, then I'll go back and put them all in, and then the ones that don't have them, I will just add some so that they're consistent. Because like I said, I'm just OCD enough that that will frustrate me. But yeah, that's Pearly Pig, and she's just so sweet and innocent, and I think it is hilarious that we have like this womanizing, suave, flirtatious penguin, and then right next to him or right after him we have this sweet innocent little piglet with her pearls and her little green dress, and I just think that's funny. It's just ironic that they're right next to each other. Yeah, so that, oh, speaking of which, I have to show you my needle minder. Okay. Up until like a month ago, incidentally, this is the only haul I really have to show you. Up until about a month ago, I didn't really see the point of needle minders, besides they're just being really pretty, okay, and fun. I've always been one of those who just like sticks my needle in like a corner of my fabric, and I've never lost a needle that way. It's not like they fall out. And you know, the needle minders are cute, but I didn't really feel the need. And you know, I think people can go a little crazy with the needle minders and buy so many of them, and they are beautiful, but you know, I'd rather spend that money on more cross stitch stuff, you know, more patterns and more fabric, you know, my stash. And if that's what you like to do, more power to you. But for me, I just couldn't really justify that in my own head, like spending money on this little magnet. But I decided to give it a try and to support one of our one of our fellow, that's the word, YouTubers who has an Etsy store, and that's Stephanie from Lindy Stitches. And I'm pretty sure she showed this needle minder in one of her videos, or someone did, and I literally laughed out loud. I thought it was so funny. I'm going to show it to you. It's Princess Leia and Darth Vader, and it says Daddy's Girl. And I thought that was so funny. Sorry if it's not focusing. Can you see that? Anyway, it's Princess Leia and Darth Vader, and it says Daddy's Girl. And I just thought that was so hysterically funny. I couldn't handle it. And so I thought, you know what? that one I can actually, I can justify that. Her needle minders are not expensive. I think it was like $5. And so the price was right. And if a needle minder actually makes me laugh out loud and will like make me smile while I'm stitching, then, you know, then I can maybe see the point a little bit. But since I was there and I decided to buy that one, I decided I needed another one to help justify the shipping. Don't we use that excuse all the time? And I got another one of hers, and actually it's on my project that I'm going to show you next, so I'll just pull it off. This is one of her Harry Potters, one of her Harry Potter themed ones, and it's Ron Weasley, and it says, "Weasley is our king." And again, it makes me giggle. It's so cute, and it makes me laugh. Sorry, let's see if we can get it to focus. It makes me laugh, and it's got a little Gryffindor shield at the bottom. It has a griffin. It's kind of hard to see there, but the little shield has a griffin on it. And yeah, what can I say? You know, if I'm gonna buy a needle minder, I guess it's good that it comes from one of our fellow YouTubers, helping support, you know, her efforts, and they actually make me laugh, and they're funny, and they're adorable, and I like that they're not huge. They're just like little buttons. I mean, it's the size of a quarter or smaller. I mean, it's a nice small size. They're not heavy, so I don't feel like they're weighing on my fabric. And I only have 2 of them. I don't know that I'm gonna rush out and buy a ton more needle minders, because that's just not really my style. But I'll tell you what, Stephanie, if there are more of these that are like funny like this, I might get some more. I don't know. I just think they're hilarious. And this is something that, even if, this will never happen, even if someday, like, I decided I was done with cross stitching for a while, I would legitimately use these on my refrigerator because they're hilarious. They're so funny. Daddy's girl. Anyway, let me put that back on my next thing. The only other thing I've stitched on in the last month and a half that I want to show you is my Harry Potter sampler. And it's on my big Q-Snap lap frame that I made. So I'll show you, sorry, so you can see all of my previous work. But obviously Ron has been on this one. And all I've done, everything up to here was already done. So all I've done in the last month and a half is I've added this little scrolly bit. What does that say? Earmus. Earmus from Expelliarmus. I haven't done the expel part yet, but Earmus is done. I've done Dumbledore, and I've just started Snape. This is going to be Severus Snape. On Dumbledore, I did change something, and it looks a little funny, but I'm going to show you up close. I gave him his half-moon spectacles. The way it was charted, he didn't have any glasses on, and in the books, that's like a major visual aspect of his character. They always, you know, J.K. Rowling's always referring to his half-moon spectacles and the blue eyes that are sparkling underneath the half-moon spectacles. And so I thought, you can't have Dumbledore without glasses on. He has half-moon spectacles. So I added some, and they look a little funny, but I like it. I don't know. It's more Dumbledore to me. I did try replacing his eyes with some bright blue, and it just looked weird. Because these little Clouds Factory people, there are only 2 squares that make up their eyes. So if you try to do like one of them blue and the other one black, it looks weird. If you try to do both of them blue, it just looks possessed, demonic. And so I just left his eyes black, just like all of them. You know, if I was gonna do that, I probably should have gone back and changed Harry's to green or something, but it looks better when they're black. So I just added some glasses on him. And that's the only other thing I've really stitched on, guys. That's it. And that might seem like a lot to some of you, but that's actually not very much for me. I think because of my sister's project that's taken up a lot of my time, and then just the nature of this past month and a half. So, I mean, it's acceptable. It's an acceptable amount. I don't have anything else to show you. I don't have any other haul besides, you know, the occasional skein of floss, or, you know, if I needed, I don't think I needed anything. I think I bought like 2 skeins of floss that I needed. And then the 2 little needle minders I got from Lindy Stitches. I did have a really awesome and exciting opportunity this month. to participate in an expo that was held at my church. Our church's women's organization, I participate in that organization. I'm actually in a leadership position in the women's organization. And we put together a creativity expo. And the point of the expo was for all of the women who wanted to be able to display something that showcased ways they're creative in their home or in their work or whatever it may be. And so we had people show all kinds of things. We had a lady show stuff that she does at work with organizational systems, which I thought was really interesting. We had someone, you know, bake homemade bread. We had a lady who does quilting. I mean, we had painting and home organization binders. This lady in our ward who has a lot of kids and she homeschools them all showed us her binder, how she organizes their homeschooling and, you know, what their each day's schedule is so they get everything done. It was quite impressive. Anyway, blah, 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 rambling. I did a presentation on cross stitch and counted thread embroidery. I expanded to counted thread embroidery because I wanted to include my black work and my heart hanger that I've been working on. And it was really well received. I was kind of nervous, like coming out of the cross stitch closet because I don't think a lot of people knew that I did this hobby. But it was really fun, and I'll insert a picture here of what the display looked like. And it was really well received. Like I said, people came and were asking me questions and asking me about websites they could go to. You know, 90% of people, at least women, and I think even a large amount of men, maybe they're just more quiet about it, have tried cross stitch at some point in their life when they were younger, when they, you know, when their grandmother or their mother taught them. And then it kind of fell by the wayside. And so it was really interesting how many people came up and were like, I am shocked. I had no idea that there was so much out there. Because I think most people, when they think of cross stitch, think of really like chintzy, cheesy, like 1980s cross stitch patterns. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but if that's not your aesthetic, if that's not your style, you know, you'd probably look at that and be like, well, I guess cross stitch isn't for me. And then, you know, I came with all of my stuff and there were people like, I actually really like that. I might actually cross stitch if I was making something like that. So many people asked me about my Harry Potter sampler. Anyway, it was a really good experience, and there's a couple of women, at least two specifically that I can recall right now, who have since like texted me pictures of something they pulled out. They had like a cross stitch thing they were working on 15 years ago, and they've pulled it out of the closet and started working on it again, which I think is really fun. I'm so glad that people enjoyed it. I'm so glad that, you know, we had that expo and it was really fun to get to see everybody's things, and it was fun to get to talk about this hobby that I love so much to people who don't know a lot about it. You know, we can talk about it here on YouTube, but we're all in that group, and it was fun getting to talk to people who are outside of it. So anyway, that was something really fun that I did in the last month and a half too. So I've been busy taking care of sick children and laundry and just trying to stay on top of life, but I am still stitching, and I'm happy to be back, and I hope you'll forgive me for being so delayed in doing this. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to tell you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your February. Again, happy Valentine's Day, and I will see you guys, I don't know. I might do one at the beginning of March, but if I haven't done enough to really show you a lot, I might wait an extra week. I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully it won't be another month and a half. All right, guys, take care and be healthy and safe, and we'll see you really soon. Okay, bye.